Hey, I hope everyone's doing well. Today we're looking at 20 questions on purchase contracts. We are here to help you. Please ask questions in the comments below. So here we go. Question: what is the purpose of an earnest money deposit in a purchase contract? A, to cover the buyer's closing cost. B, to serve as a down payment. C, to show the buyer's good faith and commitment. D, to pay for the home inspection. C, to show the buyer's good faith and commitment. The earnest money deposit demonstrates the buyer's commitment to purchasing the property and is typically applied to the purchase price or closing cost at closing. In a real estate purchase contract, what is a contingency? A condition that must be met for the contract to be binding. B, a clause that extends the closing date. C, a provision for a price reduction. D, a section detailing the property taxes. A condition that must be met for the contract to be binding. A contingency is a condition in the contract that must be met before the contract becomes binding. Common contingencies include financing, home inspection, and appraisal. What happens if a contingency in a purchase contract is not met? A, the contract automatically becomes void. B, the buyer must forfeit the earnest money deposit. C, the contract is renegotiated. D, the seller can sue the buyer. A, the contract automatically becomes void. If a contingency is not met, the contract typically becomes void and the parties are no longer bound to the terms of the agreement. Which of the following is a typical buyer contingency in a real estate purchase contract? A, seller financing. B, appraisal contingency. C, title insurance. D, property taxes. B, appraisal contingency. An appraisal contingency allows the buyer to cancel the contract if the property does not appraise for the purchase price. Who typically holds the earnest money deposit during the transaction? A, the seller. B, the buyer. C, the buyer's real estate agent. D, an escrow agent or title company. D, an escrow agent or title company. The earnest money deposit is usually held by an escrow agent or title company to ensure impartiality and proper handling of the funds. What is the role of the closing date in a purchase contract? A, to determine the property tax rate. B, to establish the timeline for transferring ownership. C, to set the date for the home inspection. D, to indicate when the earnest money deposit is due. B, to establish the timeline for transferring ownership. The closing date is the agreed upon date when the property ownership is transferred from the seller to the buyer and all contractual obligations are fulfilled. In a real estate purchase contract, what is a time is of the essence clause? A clause that requires immediate payment. B, a clause that specifies the deadlines are strict and must be met. C, a clause that allows for extensions of deadlines. D, a clause that reduces the purchase price if deadlines are missed. B, a clause that specifies that deadlines are strict and must be met. A time is of the essence clause means that all dates and deadlines in the contract are strict and must be adhered to. What does specific performance mean in the context of a purchase contract? A, a monetary penalty for breach of contract. B, a requirement to complete the contract as agreed. C, a refund of the earnest money deposit. D, a renegotiation of the contract terms. B, a requirement to complete the contract as agreed. Specific performance is a legal remedy that requires the breaching party to fulfill their obligations under the contract rather than simply paying damages. Before we go on with the other questions, if we have helped you, then please help us. Please do one of the following: like our videos, subscribe to our channel, or comment below. Thanks for helping us out. What is the purpose of a home inspection contingency? A, to verify the buyer's financial status. B, to ensure the property is free from defects. C, to confirm the title is clear. D, to finalize the appraisal value. B, to ensure the property is free from defects. A home inspection contingency allows the buyer to have the property inspected for any defects or issues before finalizing the purchase. Which of the following is not typically included in a purchase contract? A, purchase price. B, property description. C, seller's credit score. D, closing date. C, seller's credit score. A seller's credit score is not relevant to the purchase contract. The contract typically includes the purchase price, property description, and closing date. If a buyer backs out of a purchase contract without a valid reason, what typically happens to the earnest money deposit? A, it is returned to the buyer. B, it is kept by the seller. C, it is split between the buyer and seller. D, it is held by escrow agent indefinitely. B, it is kept by the seller. If a buyer backs out of the contract without a valid reason, the seller typically keeps the earnest money deposit as compensation for the breach of contract. What is an addendum in a real estate purchase contract? A, a penalty for late payments. B, an addition or change to the original contract terms. C, a summary of the property's features. D, a disclosure of property taxes. B, an addition or change to the original contract terms. An addendum is the additional document that modifies or adds to the terms of the original purchase contract. What is the primary function of a title contingency in a purchase contract? A, to allow the buyer to secure financing. B, to ensure the property has a clear and marketable title. C, to verify the property's condition. D, to confirm the buyer's employment status. B, to ensure the property has clear and marketable title. A title contingency allows the buyer to ensure that the property has a clear and marketable title free of any liens or encumbrances. What is a financing contingency? A requirement for the seller to provide a loan. B, a condition that the buyer must obtain a mortgage loan. C, a clause that adjusts the purchase price based on the loan amount. D, a term that requires the buyer to pay in cash. A condition. B, a condition that the buyer must obtain a mortgage loan. A financing contingency allows the buyer to back out of the contract if they are unable to secure a mortgage loan. Who typically prepares the purchase contract in a real estate transaction? A, the buyer. B, the seller. C, the buyer's real estate agent or attorney. D, the title company. C, the buyer's real estate agent or attorney. The buyer's real estate agent or attorney usually prepares the purchase contract, although it may also be prepared by the seller's agent or attorney. What does as is mean in a purchase contract? A, the property is sold without any personal property. B, the property is sold with all existing defects and no repairs will be made. C, the property price is non-negotiated. D, the closing date is flexible. B, the property is sold with all existing defects and no repairs will be made. An as-is clause means that the buyer agrees to purchase the property in its current condition with all existing defects and the seller will not make any repairs. In a purchase contract, what is the difference between an offer and a counteroffer? A, an offer is the initial proposal and a counteroffer is a response to the modifies the terms. B, an offer is always legally binding and a counteroffer is not. C, an offer can only be made by the seller and a counteroffer by the buyer. D, there is no difference. An offer is the initial proposal and the counteroffer is a response that modifies the terms. An offer is the initial proposal by one party and the counteroffer is a response that modifies the terms of the initial offer, even though it's considered a new offer. What is the purpose of a property disclosure statement in a purchase contract? A, to list the property's appraisal value. B, to inform the buyer of known defects and issues with the property. C, to provide a detailed property description. D, to disclose the seller's financial information. B, to inform the buyer of known defects and issues with the property. A property disclosure statement informs the buyer of any defects or issues with the property. What of the following is not a common remedy for breach of a real estate purchase contract? A, specific performance. B, rescission. C, monetary damages. D, imprisonment. D, imprisonment. Imprisonment is not a remedy for breach of a real estate purchase contract. Common remedies include specific performance, rescission, and monetary damages. What is the purpose of an inspection contingency? A, to verify the buyer's financial qualifications. B, to ensure the property meets the buyer's standards after professional inspection. C, to confirm the property's market value. D, to determine the final closing cost. B, to ensure the property meets the buyer's standards after professional inspection. An inspection contingency allows the buyer to have the property professionally inspected to ensure it meets their standards and to negotiate repairs or price adjustments if issues are found. Well, I hope you did well. If we have helped you, then please help us. Like our video, subscribe to our channel, hit the notification button so you don't miss any of our videos, comment below, and check out our channel. We have hundreds of questions on our channel. Thanks for helping us out. Have a great day.